Hold on tight for the next hour. You're entering into a place, a zone called the alternative to the alternative media. It's a place, a special place where even truth seekers fear to tread.
All right, people, let's move like we've got a purpose. Affirmative.
Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, people of all races, colors, and creeds, welcome back to the greatest show on earth. Greg Anthony here, the investigative journal, and we are the greatest show on earth because it's better than, basically getting poked in the eye with a sharp stick. It's better than walking on hot coals. It's better than stargazing, in an empty beach. There's no people around anymore. Yeah, it's better than all those little things we talked about for many, many months on this show. And it's better than being cooped up in your house every day going, when can I go out and play again? Oh, my God, I feel like a 10-year-old child asking my mother after I've been grounded for swearing in public or something, It's better than being African President Augustine. No, he's not a president. He's a pastor, Augustine Yiga, who has been jailed. Now, he's in Uganda, but it's coming here, for telling his congregation the coronavirus does not exist. The boy's telling the truth, and he's getting thrown in jail. My God, I guess Mark Twain was right when he said, a lie can travel around the world faster than the truth can even put on its shoes. And boy, has that happened here. Isn't this great? This show is much better than watching this orchestrated effort of totalitarianism. Boy, I said that correctly. Just take hold. Everybody's buying it. This show today is going to go over a few things. Let me do this before what's this better than? Oh, it's better than dying of alcohol poisoning. Not that that's good. But then it's listed COVID virus. Yes, this COVID virus is something. It gets you no matter what you do. You can go outside, get hit by a bus, and it's COVID virus. You know why? Because you were thinking about it. Your mind got taken away, and you walked in front of the bus, and they'll write on your thing. He was thinking about COVID virus, so give us $13,000. The hospitals are getting $13,000 for every COVID case. You want to go into the hospital? Don't sneeze. You will be a COVID virus victim. Yes, and you can give, what I'm thinking of doing? I might play their game. I'm going to go to the hospital and say this today. Okay, Doc, I'm not sick. I don't have any symptoms, but I think I have the COVID virus. Will you write that down? Well, Doc, you're getting, I'll let you do it, but I want half. I want $7,500, and I'll play your game. How's that? You know what? We could make a lot more money on this than you really think. Now, the idiots over at the House of Representatives who are, social distancing. Why don't you social distance yourself away from us? Like go to another planet. You think there's planets out there. Why don't you just go? Leave the world to people that, really understand that we can go outside and do everything we used to do right prior to this crazy thing you've done. Yeah, we know that. But they're running around. I was watching it. One guy was wearing, at least he was right. He had a black, cowboy handkerchief over his face. They don't do anything, Senator, but you are a criminal, so wear it, And then they're like 10 feet away. It's ridiculous. But how come Trump doesn't wear a mask? Ask yourself that. Because he's the emperor. And the emperor doesn't get sick, at least from this. And Mike Pence, he doesn't wear one either. So there's a lot of people out there that don't wear one. And this is better than having to listen to Brad Pitt. He's doing it again. He was out today again, refusing to wear a mask. And he's got a good point. No, everybody's believing him because he says he's too beautiful and he can't deprive the world of his beauty. So he's getting a pass. Now, we have a lot of lawyers out there. Now, these crazy lawyers. Listen to the argument, Alan Dershowitz. Now, Dershowitz is one of these guys that works with the New World Order but plays both sides of the fence. At one time he was a liberal, now he's a conservative. But he says he's a human rights and civil libertarian. Well, his argument is this. You have no right to say that you should not be vaccinated because you'll be a health risk. Okay, I can buy his argument. Lawyers make arguments. But he can't prove this is a health risk unless he goes with all of these crazy New World Order bloodsuckers, like Fauci and all Jesuits and the rest of them, who all do satanic worshiping in the Vatican and other places. And now they're just worshiping, they got to kill a lot of people for the gods. Now, in old days, I've checked this out, okay? You get facts here. This is why it's called the Investigative Journal. Now, I've been talking a lot about the gods lately because that's who's ruling us. These people don't worship they say they're Christian, but they're not. They're lying. And basically, they're doing it for profit. So basically, what do? They worship all these occult gods. It could be Greek. It could be Egyptian. It could be Roman. It could be the old Viking gods. But let's start, way back then. Do they sacrifice people to the gods? Yes. How do they do it? Well, we know that they do it by taking little children on an altar and killing them. And then we know they go to these spirit cooking things in Washington and they drink blood of children and they eat people's flesh, things like that. On a good day, you get a good cut of somebody's thigh, when you go to visit them. And they kind of laugh. But do you understand the laughter they're getting now? So they're worshiping gods, and they have to give sacrifices. So let's look at one sacrifice in the old days. Well, the old Vikings, every 9 years, they used to sacrifice 9 of everything, including human beings, to the god Odin and the rest of them. Okay, now there's different cultures, different ideas, but they all, maybe some cultures did 10 people, 1 person. But anyway, every 9 years they sacrifice 9 goats, 9 of everything, 9 people. And this was to make the gods happy, okay? And then they wash themselves in blood. You see them put blood all over their faces and all these kind of things that are documented. And so I figured, let's look at the populations back then. Very small, So based on the population of this small Viking community, would kind of equal what they're doing today with COVID virus, okay, or with anything. You see, the sacrificing here might not be COVID virus, might be people that are not going into the hospital and dying because they could have gotten care, or for dying for other reasons, but they're sacrificing a lot of people. Now, this will increase, I think, and so they did this in World War II. And they did it by saying, okay, we're going to gas these people in the, Auschwitz and then put them in an oven and burn them, Well, were they dead when they went into the oven? That's the question. Was it a ritual sacrifice? That's the question. Could very well have been, as some researchers have told us. So basically what's going on is they're celebrating this whole lockdown to, one, gain control over you like they used to. They're not satisfied anymore in America with the 14th Amendment, which makes you an American citizen slave. But they're giving you a lot. Now, they want to take it all away and then dole it out in their manner. So that's really what's going on here. So this show is better than having to listen to all that BS. Yeah, can you believe this story takes the cake? Where they take the cake is none of my concern. It could be to the bakery, to be with other cakes. It could be taking it to one of their Satanist friends who collects cakes. But it takes the cake. This is the best BS story government has put out, and I bet you that the Jesuits were behind it, because if there's ever been a band of people that deserve eternal damnation, according to John Adams, was the Jesuits, and are the Jesuits now. And they've created socialism, and we try to tell you that on this show. We want to give them credit where credit is due. But before I spend most of the time on this show actually honoring their gods, we're going to do that because I want you to understand what you're under here, and do you want to live that way? But let's look at them. They're thinking, wow, we've really done well now. And so I want to give them credit where credit is due. That's all we're doing. For example, who created our country? We always hear the same old names, but there are a lot of people that never want to take credit for this master hidden agenda plan they put together years ago. And we try to do that, and we enter the halls of the Jesuits to do so, and have done that on many occasions. We also want to give the people living today who are working for them a lot of credit for basically creating a great system of, fighting the left and fighting the right fighting the left fighting the right, to keep us occupied so they can get away with murder and changing the world into a one-world government, one-world order. We have a lot of people saying that now, but really, do you know where it comes from? We try to tell you on this show. But let's have some fun this morning to see what kind of world we really live in. Okay, let me tell you what I live in. I'm living in the replica Roman Colosseum right now. Yes, it's a place built to one day when this Jesuit curse is broken. The leader of the Second American Revolution is working on it right now. I'm still here waiting for him and waiting for Molly the Pigeon, if you've been following my show, to come back with the next orders on how we can do this. She's supposed to bring back some trinkets and some things that were needed to break this whopper of a curse that has been placed on America and the world for a long, long time. That's why people act the way they do. They have no control. They're mindless. They're under a spell, an occult spell. One of the spells is they believe anything that the TV tells them. They believe anything their government tells them. That's why our government has decided to have people believe the leftist agenda and then many the rightist agenda. But you know what agenda you should be believing? None of them. Right, because they're both bogus. They're both at the top levels working together. And what kind of world do we have today? I told you, I'm sitting in this Colosseum doing something positive, trying to break the curse. What are we going to do? Fight them with they got $20 billion, millions and billions of dollars devoted to weaponry, microwave weaponry. Then they got the tech world against you. They're collecting every piece of your data. They want to control your mind, your body, and your soul. And they're doing a good job. Because every time I tell a person, hey, do you want to meet me at the beach today? You know what they tell me? We can't go out and play. My God, you ever remember when you were a kid? You go crazy. You're looking for your friends. You go door to, hey, is Johnny there? Oh, Johnny and his mother. Johnny can't go out to play. He just, he ate too much chocolate cake, and I told him, okay, Mom, Johnny, I'll see you tomorrow. Then you go to the next place, and then you can't find anybody to play with. So finally, what do? I know what I used to do. I used to go, when I lived on a farm in Wisconsin, I used to get on my horse and go out to the dump. We had like 300 acres, and take my bow and arrow and shoot at cans. One day I thought about a rabbit, and then I said, no, I can't kill that. I got a long history of not being able to. I'd be terrible in the old days if I had to go out and get my own food. I really enjoy looking at those beautiful animals. And now you get a chance up close. Yeah, because there's no people out, and they're all coming into the city to, wine and dine. The other day I was out, went to a place I normally go to go dancing and have a beer. And it was all inhabited by the rodent communities. Yes, they all went there and decided to dance, and they had the music on. It was all kinds of rats and all kinds of mice having fun at my old hangout, the tavern I used to go to, because nobody was there. In fact, they were passing out free shots of tequila for every rat who would not rat on his fellow rats. And they also said, do you see these American people? They're ratting on each other. They're turning into us. But anyway, in this country right now, we're facing a stark reality that, according to Luigi Franconi, and that is the Jesuit director behind this reality TV show. We're into season 2, by the way. Season 1's over. The numbers, all this thing they're putting out about COVID-19 is now over. Now they're going into making sure it doesn't happen again. So they're tracking, tracing, and testing you. Right. And in their sitcom, they're trying to make it as real as possible based on phony science. It's kind of like what they try to do when they teach you about how we went to the moon. They use phony science, they never went, and then everybody believes we went to the moon, including all the rich actors who, if they said we didn't, will get in trouble. And the same thing goes today. All of our rich actors side with the government. The other day, they did a video. What are the stars doing in COVID-19? And if you want to get a laugh, go ahead. The first one was Arnold Schwarzenegger. He's sitting in his California home with his pet. He's got little ponies in his kitchen going, "Do not go to the restaurants. You cannot go to the restaurants. We all will stay at home." And he's petting his little horses. And they look like dogs. He's so big. Still. Keeps himself in good shape, that old governor. But he's a sellout. They're all sellouts. Whether you're a Hollywood actor, a baseball player, you're all going to follow the government line. And I just wonder how many people, they realize that if they say anything bad, they're never going to work again. Well, what about this? What about all the people that aren't going to work again, that realize this is BS in our community? There's a lot of people. The unemployment rates are skyrocketing for no reason, outside of the fact they need a workforce now to do the testing, tracking, and tracing, and they're hiring in every state. In California, they want 3,000 people a week to go around and find out exactly everything about you. And then if you take this bogus test and you are COVID positive, you can't go anywhere. And this 4 to 5 people test positive and don't have it because they don't know what it is. But everybody's going to do it. Now, let's look what's going on here. Now, in Washington, let's see what time it is. Oh, we got a few minutes here, so I can do this. I can get started. Okay, in Washington, by the way, those who don't cooperate with contact tracers and tests not allowed to leave home. Jay Inslee, he's a Democrat, and it indicated that people who refuse to cooperate, we should just forget this D and R, just put NWO. Jay Inslee, NWO, who refuse to cooperate with contact tracers won't be allowed to leave their homes, even to go to the grocery store or pharmacy. When it comes to contact tracing, how are you guys, this is a question asked to him, going to handle people? And he says if they want to leave their home to get groceries, what are you going to do? He says, well, we're going to get people to do it for them. We're going to help them. We're going to get a support person to watch them. So they're going to get one of the palace guard to stand at your door with a spear, and you're not allowed to leave your home. Okay? So that's what's going on in Michigan. And it's going to be the same way in most states. Now, you think you want to escape America? Well, go to New Zealand, because they've already passed a bill giving police sweeping powers to potentially enter anybody's home without warrants to enforce COVID-19 alert level rules. What are those? You would not believe these rules. They're going to control, how you wash your dishes. Do you have enough hand sanitizer? Stuff like that. I mean, how evasive is that? I know people like to be clean, but do you need a palace guard to come in from the castle to tell you? How about L.A.? Now, people in L.A. I feel sorry for. I really do. I mean, if you want to get out of Los Angeles, I don't know why people stay there. I mean, leave it to the Hollywood people. Let them have the whole town, because I'm telling you, they're going to go anywhere in Malibu, and they'll just get passes because, Tom Cruise will get out in his car and take a drive, and if a policeman stops, oh, Tom, go right ahead. If you want to go jumping from building to building in your spare time because you can't make Mission Impossible, go right ahead. Go down to Los Angeles. But in L.A. County, the health directors there say stay-at-home orders likely to stay through August. Yeah, can you imagine that? It's only, May? Now they're already saying people are going to be home till August? The Barbara Ferrer made the announcement, and this is going to be incredible. Now, in Alaska, legislator compares being forced to wear coronavirus screening sticker to Nazi Germany Star of David. Okay, remember I told you they're going to put something on your arm? So what they're doing is if you've been screened and tested, you're going to get a sticker that you got to display. Well, how are they going to know? Let's make some fake ones. Let's make some, whatever kind of stickers. Figure it out. Everything's got to be, we got to find a way around everything here. Have fun with these guys. How about an armband that won't fall off like a sticker will? Carpenter wrote, if my sticker falls off, do I get a new one? Or do I get public shaming too? Are the stickers available as Yellow Star of David? Says this one representative, Ben Carpenter, who has an R. Maybe we'll keep something, not the new, maybe he's really fighting against these people. He said, and somebody came to his defense when everybody else said, this is important. We have to know who has this invisible illness that we can't prove, can't test, but we have to know. And one person another representative came to his aid in Alaska. And he said, we should all be concerned about the implications of being labeled as non-compliant or wearing a badge of compliance. Oh, really? Folks, the New World Order right here, right before your eyes. Now, let's move over to Michigan. Michigan's an interesting state. They're really ramping up everything there. We got a militia that wants to go to war. They're constantly protesting, etc., etc. The next one is going to be Operation Haircut. They previously did Operation Gridlock. So Operation Haircut, I remember I made the funny little joke months ago. I said, you can't get a haircut anymore. You go to the bar, they're all closed. What are people doing? So I said, barbers, just get some hedge clippers. Stay 6 feet away and start clipping away. Well, they're not, maybe they're taking my advice, but they're all going to meet in the upcoming days on the Michigan State Capitol lawn, Operation Haircut, and all the barbers of Michigan that are participating and hairstylists are giving out free haircuts to people. All right, I'm on my way. I need one. So we got a lot of things, free haircuts in Michigan. At least tip them. Tip the guy that's giving you your haircut, right? So anyway, in the last minute or two, before I get to some really serious things in the second half hour, here I am in the Roman Colosseum. Many people say, well, where is it? I said, well, how could a man that's running your revolution, who could do this? He did this under the cover of darkness somehow, some way, without even the CIA knowing. And now he's figuring out a way to break this curse, the only way to win this second revolution. And in a sense, I've had some dreams, I've had some things happen that told me in advance what's really going to happen. And nobody believes that. And I said, well, what about other people? Are they actually looking into the future? People are going to astrologers, The peasants are getting restless. And that reminds me of the old days when most pagan groups had their seer, their person who was communicating with the gods and telling the future. And they would all go to him for advice, the kings, the peasants, everybody. And then they had to lick his hand. Maybe that's where the Pope got this idea that kiss my ring. I know what I'd kiss. I'd tell him to kiss my what. But anyway, so we're going to get back to the curse. We're going to talk a little bit about this revolution, where it's going. What are the hopes and dreams of Americans now? And all of the psychological problems that are resulting in this. I mean, people wake up and go, this is not the world I want to be in. But then again, where are you going to go? Because they've locked down almost 180 countries are involved in this. I had the idea, I wanted to see what was going on in Fiji. And I'll talk about that in a minute. Back in 3 minutes on the Investigatore Giornale.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app, for all of your mobile devices. Streaming First Amendment radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment radio wherever you are. The Prophecy Reality News app. Get it now.
Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org. When it comes to prophecy today, much of the evangelical Christian world has their eyes on Israel, waiting and watching to see when the third temple will begin to be built. The plans are drawn, the Jewish people are eager. Most evangelical Christians today believe that the rapture will happen before the third temple is built. Hi, I'm Michael Eugene. I was taught that Daniel's 70th week was in the future. Is that really what the Bible teaches? Have we searched the scriptures and found this to be true? Why is it so important for a re-established Israel to build a third temple in Jerusalem? Is it necessary to build a temple on the same location already occupied by the Dome of the Rock? Is it necessary for sacrifices to take place in the temple on Temple Mount? Is there really a rapture followed by 7 years of tribulation? What is the New Testament temple? Can we identify history and prophecy? Who is the first beast in Revelation chapter 13? Who are the 7 kings in Revelation 17? I have asked all these questions, and I have found Nicholas Arthur's new book, When the Third Temple is Built, answers all these questions and more using Scripture to interpret Scripture. The Bible says that no prophecy of Scripture is of any private interpretation. Nicholas shows us in his new book, When the Third Temple is Built, how the Bible interprets prophecy and not man's private interpretation. Visit crosstheborder.org, CROSS, crosstheborder.org, to get your print, EPUB, or PDF version of Nicholas Arthur's new book titled When the Third Temple is Built. That's crosstheborder.org.
The following program is labeled dangerous and off limits by the supreme Jesuit command. But stand tall, people. Listen up, and you may just learn something.
Oh, dear Lord Jesus, this ain't happening, man. This can't be happening, man. This ain't happening.
Okay, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, people of the new COVID virus world, everybody's welcome, peoples of all races, colors, and creeds. Welcome back to the greatest show on earth, the second half. And you know, there's a lot going on. Wow, more, well, let's say that I got an email during the break to refresh my memory about Michigan and tell somebody wrote, Greg, there's more going on in Michigan than what you just mentioned. And they said, they've just given them over $400 million for contact tracing to hire people. And they said this, imagine having to prove your immunization and COVID virus status before being allowed to enter a building, such as a county building, a store, restaurant, movie theater, or even attend church services. But it's crazy, but it's Michigan and the rest of the world. They've already tested, he says, my emailing friend, that they've tested 3,500 people there, and now they're going to start paying people to go and contact trace like they're doing in California. So basically, folks, that's what's going on in the world. And we'll go right to the belly of the beast right now for a report from Inside Georgetown University. And by the way, this show is better than listening to Inside Hollywood. Remember that program? There's no Hollywood now, so you got to listen to Inside Georgetown. Right here, the belly of the beast, we have a mechanical fly in that tunnel between the White House and Georgetown. Now, Georgetown is the think tank. Think of it as a think tank. Bunch of brains being submerged in water. The big tank. Jesuit brains going, what new religion can we create today? What new government? We did socialism. We did communism. We've created fascist states all over the world. And we love being in republic countries, you know, democratic countries, so we can infiltrate them and turn them into fascist countries. This is what these think tanks, these brains in these think tanks are doing. And they meet the White House pinheads or actors or people that are playing the role of a Jesuit shill. Now, someone said, well, Alan Dershowitz is Jewish. Maybe the Jews are behind this. And I said, he's what's called a papal court Jew. He works for the papal court. He's a papal court Jew. There are many of those. Rockefeller, you name it. There's a number of them. So the Jews have always been the fall guys, but they're always, papal court Jews on this show, the ones that work together with the New World Order. So anyway, this is where they meet. And during this COVID-19 reality show, I said yesterday, we learned they're into the second season. So they're on hiatus now, preparing everything. The new screenshots. They have to get a whole new cast of crisis actors. And they got, script writers going over things. How are we going to get season 2 off the ground with this contact tracing, tracking, and surveillance that's going to go on nationwide and throughout the world? Big job, big show. But anyway, you may be seeing reruns for a while of season 1, and the same old people talking about the same old stuff, arguing about whether this is a virus or not a virus, whether this is a health risk or not a health risk. And then they're going to present all these phony numbers to prove their point, and there's really nobody on our side because we're the peasants and they're the ruling class. It's kind of like in the old days. You listen to the king or you get your head cut off. Now they're doing it a little bit more systematically. You won't be able to go anywhere. Everything, try to go to get your hair cut. You're going to have to go to Michigan and get it cut free over there on the lawn with the Operation Haircut people. So basically, this is really turning into a mess, isn't it? So how are we going to get out of it? So let me tell you inside Georgetown what we learned. Yes, yesterday they pulled over. They're going to probably put up another actor for president, yes, and he may win, or she may win. It's going to be interesting because they were talking about this, of suspending the elections, which are fraud anyway. So maybe, for me, it's kind of fun to watch. I've been watching these phony elections for years. Now I got a front row seat. Yesterday I spent the whole day in this replica Coliseum by myself. I was the only one in the stands. There's 100,000 seats. And I felt like, I would feel if I went to Wrigley Field. If I snuck in there like I used to, we used to have a way to sneak into Wrigley Field. I can't tell you how, as kids, because we couldn't afford the 90 cents to sit. And then we would go down and end up in the bleachers. Well, we started in the bleachers, and then we'd end up in the third base dugout getting autographs because nobody went to the Cubs games back then. They were losing all the time. So we could sit anywhere. But anyway, if I went to Wrigley, I'd be the only one in the stands. And then they'd probably arrest me because I didn't have a mask on. I'd say there's nobody here. But you can't be outside. Then somebody sent me a nice little clip. Everybody from Chicago loves us because they know I'm a Polak from Chicago. No, I'm not a, could I say, if I was black, could I actually say I'm an N guy from Chicago? Sure. So I could say it. I'm not being racist to my fellow Polacks. We know. We're not, it doesn't take 3 of us to do a light bulb. Maybe 2, but not 3. You have to live with those. I grew up with those jokes. I learned very quickly I could make a living in comedy. I would just say my last name. But anyway, so here we are, giving you this inside report. You're going to get some reruns. They're thinking of a new actor to take over Trump's job because he's, what more can he do? I mean, it's like this. No one to get out when you're on top, And he's got a great excuse. They're talking about it yesterday. They said, yeah, we've written in this excuse that, you may have to lose, but it isn't your fault because it's the coronavirus that we created. So you can get out, with some dignity. But Trump just may want to quit. Who knows with him? They're thinking about that. And he did mention that he was a bit upset with the writing lately, that the Twitter writers aren't really creating enough friction, so they're going to start arguing again about politics. That's going to carry you over into season 2. A lot of reruns. You know, they'll probably argue about the Clinton stuff and all of Michael Flynn and all those bogus things that never get done. Then you're going to hear a lot of, well, we got to drain the swamp. They're never going to get drained. We're going to put all these people in jail that did this. No, they're not. It's just a game. And they know that. You know when you watch a series, for example, when you turn on TV and there's a star of the series or there's the leading actors, you know they're going to be around for a while if you want the series to continue. That's why Hillary Clinton's never been put in jail or killed. Because in the script, she's been one of the main actors, Bill, Hillary, Bush, the rest of them. They'll be around forever. Henry Kissinger. I mean, these people are important to the show. They only kill off those that are not important, like Vince Foster and others that they can get rid of. You know, and of course, the extras, they kill them all the time. But the reality of this is they actually do kill you. And it's a reality show, but really it's fiction. So try to follow that. That's what we talk about on Inside Georgetown. And they meet with their scripts and everything there, camera work, you know, and all this stuff goes on. So that's the only news I can report now. They're going to be doing a lot of reruns. They will be arguing politics again, and you may get a new actor as president if they even do elections. They're debating on whether to cancel them. It's kind of like I was talking to my friend in L.A., and I said, well, what's it like? And he said, well, there's still these orders. Police are starting to crack down on everything. And I said, yeah, that's season 2. And they said, we're going to be at home until the end of August now, maybe. And I said, how are you going to go to watch the Dodgers when the Cubs come to town? It ain't going to happen anymore. Can you believe this? That's why Slats got really started on this thing. Because, you know, if you've been following my show, the Second American Revolution didn't start just yesterday. He's been working on this Coliseum that I'm sitting in right now. I'm outside. You know, I just took the computer outside and decided to catch some sun. You know, they're letting me sit here. They don't even know about it. But anyway, he started this 20-some years ago. He knew this was going to happen. And then he came up with this genius idea of breaking this curse, which I had a dream about. That was the interesting thing. You know, I'm starting to think maybe, you know, I should just go to sleep for a while and have another dream to let you know tomorrow what's going to happen in the future. But anyway, they really want to kill us. It boils down to that. And they're doing a pretty good job. If they want to kill you, basically they will. But they're doing it in a way that makes it look like you're killing yourself. You know? Then what they do is they transfer it to COVID virus and everybody gets paid except you. So I suggest that we start making a deal. We say, okay, if you want me to die of the COVID virus, I want some money, more. I'm not talking about your skimpy $1,200, you know. I'm talking about half of what you give to hospitals. I want $7,500, and I want it monthly, okay? Then I'll play your game. I won't say a word, you know. But you know what they're doing? They're just paying off people now like $15, $18 an hour to be contact tracers. And these people are selling out for far too little. But they need work. They need a job. Because the idea is to get everybody out of work so they can now have a workforce to go and spy on your American people, on the friends, you know, your friends. And you're going to get paid for it. But then again, you don't even know. Everybody assumes it exists. But you will have COVID virus whether you like it or not. And if you don't display your Nazi armband, you're not going to be able to go into a restaurant. You're not going to be able to go shopping. Nothing. Unless you grow your own. But then if you're in Vermont, they won't even allow you to buy seeds. They're thinking of everything. So what's happening here, just to be a little serious for a minute, as if not this second revolution isn't serious, it is serious. You know, and did you know you can talk to pigeons in Kansas? Remember the Wizard of Oz? But anyway, pigeons speak when you're in Kansas, at least a select few. I'm waiting for Molly the pigeon, who does speak. She's coming back with trinkets, the initial items needed to break this Jesuit curse. And one of the most interesting things is in my dream, People ask, well, how are you going to detect all these Jesuit shills that you talk about? I said, once the curse is broken, in my dream, I'm not sure it's going to happen, but what happened was a mystical, magical Vatican flag appeared on their foreheads, even Trump's. So it proved my point. Yeah, they all work for them, right? Whether you're a Democrat or Republican. So just start putting NWO behind their name. Hi, my name's Matt Gaetz. I'm an NWO senator or representative from Florida. Hi, I'm Chuck Pelosi. Chuck Pelosi, who cares? And I'm a senator NWO from New York. Sounds better. At least they're being honest, but they won't. But anyway, listen to this. Connecticut. Now, Connecticut, Governor Lamont has a D there. Let's put an NWO. Said Tuesday the consulting firm expects to perform $2 million worth of work for state overnight over 8 weeks during a first phase of the project. And what project are we talking about? That's opening up the country, the state. Okay. So basically, what they're doing in Connecticut is his response to the COVID virus, they're coordinating it with contact tracing and tracking, okay? And they're giving police more power to control you. In Connecticut, they've had this mask order, social distancing, but they haven't been able to enforce it well. But now they're getting more money to do that. They're going to create a control tower to help manage the state's opening and to make sure that you're wearing your masks and staying away from people. So there you go, another state falling in line. Now this is an interesting one. Colorado man died of alcohol poisoning. Remember I mentioned that earlier? I said this show is much better than dying and then having of alcohol poisoning. I'm sure we've all thought about that these days. Guy sitting there, I haven't gone out in 90 days, and this bottle of tequila is still full. Maybe I should drink it in 1 minute and see if I die of alcohol poisoning, if they'll mark down COVID virus. Well, of course they will, because this is what happened to this Colorado man. But the death, he died of alcohol poisoning because he was thinking about this, living this way, I guess. Nobody knows. Didn't write a suicide note or anything. In April, health officials in Colorado classified 3 nursing home fatalities as COVID-19 deaths, even though attending physicians ruled they were not related to the virus. The Colorado man who died of alcohol poisoning had his death classified as due to COVID virus, possibly shedding light on the skewed virus death toll in the state, according to a report on Thursday. We have his name and everything. But, you know, people are starting to catch on. I remember way back when we first started this, I came up with that man. Remember the guy I investigated who got hit by a 300-pound pig? Found out then it was listed as a COVID virus death. And then I said to myself, duh, I bet you there's a lot of those. But I traced down the pig. Yeah, the poor pig. Everybody forgets about the pig, you know. Well, anyway, I found the pig. He's fine. And the pig is doing well. He's actually 400 pounds now and living well. So the idea, I think my little story that I investigated way back when shows you exactly what's going on all over the place. So I don't need to have any, scientist. They're going to argue till the cows come home. How long have I been saying that? Is it because I grew up on a dairy farm? Until the cows come home. They used to come home every day. When you're on a dairy farm, you put them out in the pasture, and at 5 o'clock, without having an alarm clock, they know to come back. Because they go in the barn, they get milked, and they get fed, and then they spend the night there. And then they get up in the morning and go. And they're smart animals. These are dairy cows that I loved it because you didn't have to slaughter them. And I used to give them names, things like that. Those were the days, right? America was free. They didn't control your milk. I don't remember my dad ever having to dump any milk out anywhere, like farmers are told to do now. It's insane. But people believe it. I mean, sell the milk to somebody. I mean, they did it in the old days without, Louis Pasteur. I don't know what happened. But these government controls are way, way overboard for what's going on. We all know it. I mean, we can go example after example after example. And we know we're not going to get a fair trial. I mean, even in the public arena. You know, this public trial is skewed. If you ever go to court, these judges, they don't even, you know, look at what you got as judges. What they're doing under those robes, you got me. But, for example, in the Ninth Circuit, which is a liberal circuit up in San Francisco, a federal circuit, your appeals court, they ruled that the Vatican Bank does not do business here, so you can't sue them. You know, and these were people that were screwed over by the Vatican when they were victims of the Croatian genocide, and all their money was stolen, their gold and everything, and they were, you know, and the priests were involved in killing them, etc. And this is all verified through a couple depositions by actual people that were there, CIA people who were then the office of the OSS. I think his name was Bill Gowan, was one person that testified. But the court, in their wisdom, stated that you can't get reparations from the Vatican Bank in this country because they don't do business here. And this show is better than that, because we can tell those stupid judges, we know they do business. But you ever hear of Peter's Pence? Every one of these dioceses in America, they send money to the Vatican Bank. That makes them liable. But how did they realize, how could they come to the decision that they don't? Well, they're crooked. That's how they come to the decision that the COVID virus is real. The same thing. And that the testing is good. And that you need to be vaccinated and your genes need to be modified. They want you to. This is all BS. And the only way they can get you to do it is by force. You can't go to see the movie you want because you're not immunized. And people are going to stand there and believe them. That's the problem. But they couldn't get away with this unless, one, they had the media in their pocket, which they do. That's why the show is much better. They have TV in their pocket. This happened long ago. Back in the 70s, when Rupert Murdoch, I believe, took over the Chicago Sun-Times, there was a great journalist named Mike Royko, who also knew Slats Grobnik, by the way. You know, and when Mike passed away, I met Slats, you know. And isn't it fitting that Slats is Polish, Mike was Polish, I'm Polish, we all are from Chicago, and we're fighting this new world order. The Chicago mayor just said, I just got this clip sent from one of my favorite people from Chicago, that she actually said, you're living in a new world order, folks, so get used to it. Something of that nature. So they're not hiding their loyalties. Don't put Democrat or Republican on behind your name anymore. Have some guts. You know, if you want to change this world, if you want to turn us into cyborgs, if you want to kill everybody and worship your gods and use us as sacrifices, at least be honest. You know, so we can make a run for it. Because what else are you going to do? You got to retreat when you know you're defeated, or you got to break the curse. That's why I recommend you read all my stories regarding the Second American Revolution on my website at greganthonysjournal.wordpress.com. And in between the banter and all of the fun that we have here, we do have a few things that are important to tell you. And one is, keep your mind, body, and soul intact. However you do it, these people are out to kill you. You have no rights. It's an illusion. They're your owners. You're just obedient workers. They, with a snap of a finger, can create an invisible illness that controls and locks down the whole world. Got you thinking about death and dying all day. A population obsessed with germs. We don't even know if the germ theory is true. In fact, there's never been a lot of debate on it. We have these supposedly very, very intelligent doctors and researchers. Now, according to Dr. Andrew Kaufman, right, he was on, I played a lot of clips from him. He believes this is a manufactured crisis for the same reasons we do, although he's much more articulate about it and doesn't take a sarcastic comedic approach. However, if you listen to what he says, I played it yesterday, and I had to cut out a very important part. At the end, he says, you know, this is only a theory. Viruses are only a theory. It's never been proven. But what happens is the money and the control comes from a very small group of people that indoctrinates all of our doctors to not really do the proper testing and to buy into the theory, because then they get money, they write their papers, they get nice positions, and nobody ever questions whether the virus theory and germs really do exist, whether they even pass the way we say they do. We know, he says, that we get sick from toxins in our body, like fluoride and other things they spray in chemtrails, which don't seem to concern them because that's the way they kill people. It's an offering to the gods. Nowadays, they do modern offerings. But anyway, what he's saying is that if we did a proper study, many people would come to the conclusion that maybe viruses don't even exist. And this has been just a theory, just like the theory of, that NASA purports to tell you how you live on, what you live on. It's only a theory, and it's brought up with bad science. Same here. There are many doctors that know they can't get their message out, like him. He's been silenced on YouTube and all the other places. And there are many others that realize there needs to be more study done on even the germ theory. So this idea that you're afraid of germs, that it even passes the way they say they do, and viruses even pass this way, is up for grabs. But that's not what they want you to believe. And that's why you're being locked down. Hey, listen, I could go on forever, but we're all out of time. Back tomorrow on and people are saying, good, get him off the air. But anyway, see you tomorrow on the Investigatore Giornale.
The book of Revelation says, the spirit of prophecy is the testimony of Jesus Christ. This is at the very heart of FirstAmendmentRadio.com. In that spirit, we have created the Prophecy Reality News app for all of your mobile devices, streaming First Amendment Radio 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Available for your Apple, Android device, and smartphone, absolutely free. Get the Prophecy Reality News app installed today so you can listen to First Amendment Radio wherever you are. The Prophecy.
Since the beginning of time, kings have sought it, nations have fought for it. It has been traded, it has been borrowed, it has been purchased, it has been stolen. There's a reason for it. To secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and to our posterity. Invest with the security of gold and silver. Call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188 or visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net. Listen to Financial Survival with your host Melody Cedarstrom right here on FirstAmendmentRadio.com at 4 p.m. Eastern or 1 p.m. Pacific Time. Visit discountgoldandsilvertrading.net or call Discount Gold and Silver Trading at 1-800-375-4188. Toll free 1-800-375-4188.